I mean, it's a good ship for 4 people for sure,
I mean,
or
it's
five.
it's a great ship if you're, if you got a full crew. It's a great ship if you just want to solo with it.
Definitely so.
I mean, just for, in the aspect of trying to solo with it, just under the pilot's controls, you have 52 missiles and four size 4 cannons that are gimbaled.
And that's a point that a lot in the community, there's like they brush over. It's like, yeah, you know, yeah, but yeah, but nothing. You're looking at it now. When the game is later, these missiles are going to be a key to dominating any airspace, especially because the type of missile. It's not just missiles, it's size twos and size ones. This is an anti fighter missile boat. This is meant to stay in the back and harass the fighters with the light fighters, you know what I'm saying, with missiles and keep them busy so that the light or medium stuff can do some damage.
Yeah, we're, with the size, as you can see, it's 61 meters long. It's not a small ship. So I mean, it's 61 meters long. It's not a small ship. So where it lacks in maneuverability, it makes up for in arsenal.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I also foresee it getting a lot more tankier because of that. I see a lot of the bigger ships getting a lot more uh, increased health, so to speak. Because because of that. Like it's slower now, so while it's trying to run away, it's gonna need shields and armor to deal with the mosquitoes while it's trying to escape. Uh-oh. Oh, they don't talk to you? Well, it's got all medium-sized components. To be honest, I hate this page. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hate this page. The only thing that's important about this page that matters, that's probably gonna matter even moving forward, is the third row on the far right. I mean, everything else is a guide. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of medium, but we have no idea what the actual size,
Testing.
requirements, and whatnot is going to actually be, because when we get the engineering gameplay in and all that's fleshed out, and they get all the balancing fleshed out between, you know, the components, the fuel usage, the thruster ratios. I mean, it's a mountain of crap, and I mean they don't CIG doesn't normally, because the community tends to be ooh shiny squirrel, so they don't have the, and they don't need to dump like, every line of code that they're working on. But needless to say, every single one of these ships are all getting retuned as we speak, and then they're just gonna continuously getting iterated on. So this page, I have a feeling, is gonna get more because there's parts that aren't being listed here that they've told us we're going to have to be considerate of, like air scrubbers. They've already told us atmosphere is going to be a situation. So shouldn't yeah, okay, so we know how many crew it has, but shouldn't we know how big the atmosphere processor is, what size it is, because then maybe that gives us an idea how much we can kind of stuff inside overclock, you know what I mean, or whatnot, stuff like that. There's a couple other uh like, oh, here you go, one that I like. The Carrack has a whole section for navigation, right? Is a whole like component area that can pop out of the bridge and it's labeled as navigation. So I'm assuming that that's the navigation computer. That's not listed there. Is that going to be a medium, a small, a large? Is it going to be called a size 1, 2, 3? Is it going to be a blade? What is it? We don't know. It's not even there, but it's in the ship, so it's intended. You know, but for this column, the third column, like I said, which you can garner or glean off of this page for information, is the weaponry, which is what is most important time now. But if you are investing in future, like for when game is closer to retail or more of the mechanics are worked out, then getting into the nitty gritty is going to be, it's still going to be a good medium range, uh, multi crew, all around, uh, exploration, whatever you need to do.
This is
As long as
definitely
you have
one
a
of
good.
my top choices. If I had to
Oh
say
yeah,
going into this game, if you're going to be more than two players, 3 to 4, or a little bit more sometimes, any of the Constellation series is definitely the way to go. Sorry for earlier. It looks like we had some mic difficulties. Um, for sure, what he was saying, this page is taken with a grain of salt, only because most of the stuff's not on there. But from what we can see, sometimes they do update it and they make some changes to it, which is always surprising, and you never really know what you're going to find when you come onto it. So it's always
yeah,
good to get a new first impression.
I definitely always check the page because, like he said, it does change from time to time for sure.
Animal, is there anything you want to say about the constellation still for the Andromeda?
I mean, the Andromeda is its main its main priority is its gunship, but you can still haul 96 SCU of cargo. You can still, you know, you can put an Ursa rover in the vehicle bay. You can put a Cyclone in it. You can put four, motorcycles or hover bikes or whatever. I mean, you can, you know, you can use it for whatever you want.
It's got an extremely versatile profile, is what it is.
It,
Its range is wide.
The
it's a
only thing you really
really
can't do in it is dogfight, but you have a snub fighter for that.
As long as it's crewed. Assume you have crew to man every station. It is a pretty formidable vessel at that point.
I mean, you
People,
can still do bounties and things with it too. So don't think
yeah,
that just because you can't dogfight with it, it's more or less not as maneuverable as the other fighters. So you're a little bit disadvantaged if you're not fully crewed.
well,
I mean,
the
I've
big thing that I see that I'm sorry to cut you off, brother. It's just it's that the concept of solo. No, yes, it is good, but this anything that's beyond anything in Star Citizen that's beyond a two-person, 1 to 2 cruise ship, it's really intended to be played with group, as many as you can. People seem to a lot of people forget that this is not really so yes, you can solo this game, but it's going to be more of a group effort most of the time, especially if you want to do the big stuff. I
Well, I mean,
mean,
it's an MMO.
yeah,
It doesn't have unless you're playing Squad 42. It doesn't have a single player story arc. It's a multiplayer story arc. The story has to do with everyone all at once,
right.
and so you're going to have multi crew ships. It's in the name, multi crew.
Yeah, but
You
people
know,
gotta,
you could
eh,
fly like I myself, have flown a Constellation Andromeda. I've done HRTs and below. Anything higher than an HRT is suicide. But I mean,
Does
I've
hammer
soloed a ha- I've soloed a hammerhead
in seconds.
with a Constellation Andromeda.
Well, you
Was it
see that,
was it fun? Not really,
yeah.
but I
Well,
did it.
see something like that. That's like that's not gonna that's not gonna be able to happen. Like the remember the hammerhead right now as it stands is
It's like
only at
7% or fifteen
yeah
percent of its.
10, yeah 10 to 15% of its full capacity. So it's that thing shows up on the battlefield. It's gonna be a problem.
This
Well,
is
yeah,
one
I
of the
mean
ships. This is
that's
one of
why
the
I
ships
mentioned
I've.
it. You know,
What was that?
This is
that
one of the
that was why
ships.
I
Oop,
mentioned
Oh my
go ahead,
god.
Hannibal.
it happens all the time.
Lag spike.
That was why I mentioned, you can solo HRTs, but it's not a great idea. Anything higher than an HRT is just plain suicide. I wouldn't even attempt it. The hammerheads, like Leoben was saying, are at 10 to 15% of their actual health, which means, yes, you can solo them right now with an Andromeda, but trying that in the future when they have updated the health and armor of the hammerhead would just also be suicide.
Good night. Nice knowing you. See you later, buddy.
This is one of the
Oh,
ships
you
I
showed
would
up in
definitely.
that?
This is one of the ships I definitely prefer to have with me when I'm kind of doing a run of some sort, just to make sure that there's something in the background to protect.
I mean, I find myself in that ship often, and I have enough to have options, and it's one that I find myself in most of the time.
I mean, if you're in a situation where you're doing a bunker mission or bounty mission, something that has to do with planetary or moon-based first-person shooters or something like that, the Andromeda is nice to have because not only can you launch a barrage of missiles at something, you can also get your Ursa rover or your Cyclone out and approach from land.
Yes. In fact, when I did my when I did that Jumptown sniper run, when I went stalking Jumptown, that's exactly what I did. Of course, not ideal for the what the game is intended. I did ditch my ship, and that wouldn't be the ideal thing. But if I was able to come back to it, I would. Um, Now, uh, moving forward now with Pez and 318, um, it is possible. However, I still wouldn't recommend, as I do believe that what is it? I think it's about 30,000 kilometers. You lose your vehicle marker, and sometimes it still bugs out when you transfer from one vehicle to another. It'll highlight and leave the marker for the last vehicle you were in. So you could lose the marker of your old vehicle, and well, if you drove 20 kilometers away, good luck finding your ship without being able to mark it. Now, when we can leave pin marks on our maps, then then that's going to be an option, because then you can leave your ship in a you can park your ship in a cavern or in a cave or in a valley or a crater. Shut it down, because let's be real, leaving it running, putting full power to shields, that's not going to save your ship if somebody finds it. So the best thing you can do is shut it completely off, leave it on the floor. Now, right now, not going to do too much for you, except shorten the distance that somebody might pick you up on radar. When the game goes live, or retail, or when they bring the function online, if you go back, I forget what episode it was, but way back when they're in Inside Star Citizen, when they're talking about the scanning and what their vision and plans were for scanning, they were they were talking they were saying things like you would imagine it would be in space, in an environment like that, like you've seen in every sci-fi show. Being able to hide your fighter behind a rock in an asteroid field, and scanning, and somebody scans, they're gonna see the rock, not you. Or a bunch of fighters around one big ship, from far away, we're going to see the big ship. This is in the game right now. A big ship can hide little ships. They've added this. Um, but in the future, and this is where I think both CIG and the community had a big miss with the Scorpius Antares, and it's with the use of the second seat, right? That's the wizzo, that's the person that's going to be doing all of the scanning and the listening, the jamming, actively jamming. It's going to be some kind of mini game to jam the signals or whatever, whatnot. But in the light that I'm speaking of in scanning, that second seat on the Antares, you know, they'll be able to do detailed scanning. And like I said, from what they had explained in the show that they did, it made it sound like you'll scan and you're gonna have to play some kind of mini game with the graphs and the wavelengths of the frequencies and like dig through the noise of space like a sonar man on a submarine today. So you see, now the Scorpius second seat becomes useful. Maybe part of having the EMP in the Scorpius is also that it has an expanded sensor range compared to its brother. Mhm. These are just things they haven't put in yet because it doesn't matter at the moment. There you go. But that's no, but see, but it leads into what I was saying. I- This is only one, right? Sure, it was made for it, but what's stopping them from making other craft or things that can sling in there? Now, I get it was already difficult for them to even get that to work, but now that they got it working, is it not something that they could replicate? And maybe what's to change the skin? The wire rig is still going to do the same thing. The mechanic of the game will still be the same. So now that even expands the Connie to even new horizons. Maybe something like a Merlin, but more industrial. Say it's got a tractor beam to help move cargo around, or I don't know, a a repair thing,
Or
maybe.
there's also racing in the game. So I mean, you could also, have a racing variant
The
of the Merlin. Well, the
the
Archimedes
Archimedes.
already is the racing Merlin, but even more like a racing variant of the Constellation,
Yeah.
to where that's your ship you show up to the race with, and you just disconnect your already docked Merlin or Archimedes, do the race, dock it again, and take off in your ship, and it's like you were never there.
I think definitely having that P-52 in the back, having the ability to have an extra person jump out and get into the dogfight to kind of draw some attention off your ship kind of helps out a lot.
Oh yeah, because I mean the Constellation Andromeda in particular was not meant to be up front. It was not it's not a frontline ship. It's meant to hang back and destroy fighters from afar. The snub fighter that detaches is supposed to be the one that actually gets up into the nitty gritty shit.
And let's see, to get into, I guess the next ship would be the Aquila. This one, as you can notice by the front, has a much different windshield. So the viewing port is much, much, much different from the inside.
I will say the one of the major downfalls of the Andromeda and the Aquila and the all of the Constellation series, even though they redesigned the Aquila cockpit, one of the qualities that they need to adjust and fix, in reference to, like Laban mentioned, the Carrack, the cockpit on the Carrack is so much nicer than the Andromeda or any of the constellations. Even with the redesign on the Aquila, the cockpit is still terrible to see out of.
No, they CIG so the Constellation this is actually a good ship to start with too, Trav, because yeah, they didn't say it's gonna get a facelift or a rework, but I imagine that it's going to get something like the 600. It's gonna go in and get some plastic surgery on the insides. Maybe some minor things on the outside may have to change as the insides adjust to whatever the new metrics are, because they've already stated, you know, that they're, that when they go through the gold pass, and and this is an interesting, it is another thing that everybody, all of, even we missed with this one, Naked, when they openly addressed and said, we know the Connie canopy and the struts are bad, because when they brought out the Taurus, everybody thought that that was going to be their chance to fix the Connie that way, and they didn't. So everyone was like, WTF? And then they were like, yeah, we know, but we didn't want to work on it now to then work on it again later when we go back through and put it through the gold pass. So what that just told me was they're gonna give it a facelift like the 600 is getting, because it's a really old ship. It's literally one of the first ships we got in the game. I think it's the first multi-crew ship that they put into the game to fly, right? So, and now look, all these new RSI ships coming. So now we have the RSI design language, excuse me, set in stone. So now that they have the design language, they have the new assets for the new design language, and then they're gonna go through the Connies and all of the Connie line. I don't think they're gonna get too much changing on the outside. I think they're just gonna get a minor touch, and I think we will have a sneak peek, so to speak, of what that'll look like when we see the Galaxy, as that's the first of the newer ships. You can kind of see it with the Scorpius where they're going. You see? You can kind of see it with the Scorpius with the design language, and then if you look at the Galaxy, it's like a giant Scorpius, and then they're calling the Galaxy the big brother to the Connie. So is the Connie gonna get more of a look like I had been saying for a while, that they're gonna make it look more like the Polaris, to make it the space, make it like a mini Polaris?
I mean, I would be happier if they made it into a mini Carrack.
Mm.
That'd be pretty awesome. I mean, it
The
kind of
design
somewhat
of the
is.
Carrack. Well, it kind of somewhat is, but I mean, if they were to actually share the same design, because they don't look anything alike.
I know this particular one, the Aquila, this one's the closest, I would think. What would you guys say? Closest to the character that they have, based on the fact that it's
Well, I mean,
Expedition?
well, it's the expedition version, so it is the baby Carrick.
What would you guys say between the two of them, the Andromeda and the Constellation, besides just the viewing glass in the front? What are the other known features that you know that kind of set it apart from one another?
Well, I mean,
The Aquila has, instead of a top turret where the Andromeda has a top and bottom turret, the Aquila loses that top turret, and that top turret becomes a scanning array. The Aquila also comes with an Ursa rover, whereas the Andromeda does not. You have to purchase that separate.
It is very true. And it looks like from what we can see on here, all the rest of the statistics toward it from what's currently displayed all seem to be about the same for length and width and height. Looks like cargo capacity is the same as well. Minimum maximum
All of
crew of 3 and 4.
all of the Constellation series, with the exception of the Taurus for cargo space, are identical, except for the Andromeda, where it has more missiles and heavier armor because it was the military version. Everything else, all the other specs are pretty much the same. Um, you get
And
slight variations on guns, but I mean, like the Phoenix, for example, has 24 size 2 missiles. The Taurus has 28 size ones.
And the armor
Um,
right now is kind of hard to gauge only because they haven't really pressed it yet. But once the
Right.
whole armor situation goes into effect, the whole game's going to be changed. Any of the streamers that have made videos on the game so far, they'll be just non-existent anymore. They'll have to go completely over and redo all the videos to get some better play, just to know kind of how each weapon set, each weapon size affects different armors.
Oh
Once
yeah, I
one
can't wait.
particular, say, size 2 weapon isn't going to do crap to like a size 4 armor or shield.
Yeah, no,
And that
all these people that think that they can smoke a hammerhead and an arrow solo, good
those
luck.
days are gone.
You're never gonna get through the shields. Like you're never gonna get through the shields. Like good
yeah,
luck.
you'll never get through the shields, let alone the armor.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and if the crew wanted to play with you, they can drop the shields, and you'll never damage their armor. So have at you. You know,
It'll definitely make for a whole new experience. Basically,
for
learning the
sure.
game all over again.
I can't wait for it. It's gonna be such a glorious moment.
But I mean, the Aquila is just it's the exploration, it's the expedition, it's the let's go out into the depths of space and look for something new ship that has some decent guns. It's got four size fives that are gimbaled to size fours, and it's got you know an array of missiles.
Let's see. From the Aquila, it looks like we'll move on to the Phoenix Emerald.
I think
Uh,
we should do the Phoenix first and then the Emerald,
Yeah, we can move on to the Phoenix first.
because the Phoenix and the Phoenix Emerald are almost the
Basically
same
the
ship.
same.
basically,
All right, so since you've recently picked up one of these animal, go ahead and you give your rundown of what you feel of it so far since you've had the most to play with it.
It's damn near identical to the Andromeda, with the exception of it's got size three weapons instead of size fours. So, whereas where the Andromeda has four size five weapons that you can gimbal to a size four, the Phoenix has four size fours that can be gimbaled to a size three. Um, the cargo bay is wider on the Phoenix, so the ship looks like it's got more of a squatted look. The thrusters on the bottom are extended out a little wider, um, but it's completely luxurious. I mean, how the brochure doesn't even look
Not even close to what is currently
doesn't
in
even
game.
look. Yeah, it's not even in the game. I can't wait till it looks like that. But
Looking back at some of these,
that's old.
yes.
Um, so whatever the new stuff, whatever it's gonna look like new, that's what's gonna be like. That's gonna be the new hotness.
Looking back at the old
So,
brochure, it's crazy. It's been so long since I went back and looked at these. It's just crazy. It's blowing my mind literally just thinking of how much things have changed from when this was put out versus what's here now. Like what we're able to see and not see, and the different what gray
bananas.
boxes and things that we've seen going along the way. Just watching the whole thing progress is just insane.
so I mean, one thing I will say, and this is a difference between the Phoenix and the Phoenix Emerald. Whereas I have the Phoenix Emerald. The Phoenix, when you buy it on the store, comes with the Lynx rover. The Emerald comes with an Ursa Fortuna. The Lynx is like a luxury Suburban. It's
Yeah,
like a
I love
Cadillac
it.
Escalade EXT,
It looks really nice.
but the Lynx, it's a touring ship with a touring ground vehicle that comes with it. It's a limo basically. This is the ship that you take execs up, on a trip where like they want to fly private. This is the ship you take those people in. The Emerald is the party bus version of the Phoenix. The Emerald is the one where you rent the limo and you go out on the town, you get shit faced, and you got a safe ride home.
Yes.
The Emerald also comes with the Phoenix comes with an Archimedes, which is the snub fighter. It's a Kruger P-72 Archimedes. It's almost the same thing as what comes with the Andromeda. The
The
Andromeda comes
racing
with a
variant.
P-52 Merlin. The P-52 Merlin has another gun and is a little slower, just as maneuverable. But it's the Archimedes is the racing variant that still can be used as a fighter. The Archimedes is basically a luxury version of a Merlin.
And as you can see, where Leoben was saying earlier, and I as well, take this page with a grain of salt because a lot of the stuff gets changed and deleted and messed up along the way. But whenever things do get updated, it usually is a good indication that something else is going to be peaking in the next live or ISC. You'll usually get some type of a notification once you see a change on here.
I will say that the cargo space doesn't change when because the Phoenix has a luxury suite basically in the middle of the ship. It's got a king size bed that you can bed log in. It's got updated crew quarters that have fish tanks in them. There's a fish tank with a little derelict Constellation at the bottom, which I thought was super cool. There's a hot tub that currently kills people,
That's why they closed the door on it.
which is why they closed the door on it. Can't wait till they, fix it to where it doesn't kill anybody, so they can open it and then I can actually,
Use it.
use it. Um, it's got a TV. It's got a full bar. Eventually, they're going to make it to where we can actually use the full bar. Right now, it's just for show, but it's still cool looking. It's got where you see that airlock on the side, which I'm not sure why they show an airlock on the side of that Phoenix in the Holo viewer.
It's not there in the game.
It's not there in the
Well,
game. That's a That's a
hold on.
window.
I don't know about the Phoenix. I know the Andromeda does, where
The
you can pop
Andromeda has an
open.
airlock. Yeah, the Andromeda has airlocks, but this one, I mean, we're looking at a Holo viewer of the
It's,
Phoenix.
it's
That's a
just
window.
it's just generic. That's why.
It looks like they kind of
Just
copy pasted the Andromeda onto there.
yeah. I would say major differences is that the Phoenix has a wider cargo bay, whereas like the Ursa rover, when you put it in an Andromeda, it's a tight squeeze.
Looks like we also have a commercial on this one as well.
Okay, well then I'll stop talking. Oddly enough, they show a crab that we don't even have in game yet, and a native alien.
Yo, I don't think I've ever actually watched this one.
No, you never seen this one? It's old.
No, I don't think I've
I've never
watched this
seen
one
it
before.
either. Is that what the Bandu look like? Or are those
No,
the Banu?
that's just some alien subspecies. So so I think there's gonna be a touch of side lore, not to shit talk, but side lore on that, just because it's in that commercial. Um, so there's a law that says that if if the UEE discovers a world that has like a species like that shows potential of becoming like a civilization, then it becomes quarantined, right? So
So
if
basically the same thing in Star Trek and
right,
Orville and everything like that, where if they
yeah,
find a species that isn't ready to meet us, we don't meet them.
general order number one. Now, here's the thing. Does that mean then that there is one confirmed planet already in the lore where there's a species that's
We've got
protected?
protoplanet, no atmosphere.
So that might be them,
Unknown
or there
planet
might be
2.
another or others that we might find.
I don't know if you
We
guys
haven't
saw
even
that
talked about.
There's an
when
Yeah, yeah,
the bay on top opens up.
Doesn't look like that, by the way.
yeah. No, it's a turret.
It's actually cooler though. I would prefer it to be look like this instead of being a turret.
I
We've got
think
a
they will.
protoplanet, no atmosphere.
They should,
Unknown
'Cause
because
planet
right now you just
two.
sit in a seat like it would be a turret, and then you hit scan, and it does the same thing you can do when you're sitting in the pilot seat.
There's an
yeah,
atmosphere.
Doctor.
It could sustain life.
The fact that when we can actually land and you might actually be able to do all these readings and things is going to be pretty sick. I know we probably are far way out from being able to see this in game, but it'll be definitely a cool gameplay avenue that we haven't really gotten to play with yet.
Now I know we just mentioned we just finished talking about the Aquila. This constellation in the commercial is the Aquila. See how wide the landing gear? The landing.
And it's got the rounded front. Lovely VTOL.
Very lovely detail. That is one thing we didn't talk about.
yeah, that's a big selling point. VTOL is going to be very important for a ship like this because the design ships in the future.
Wait a minute. Did you
Ships
see
in-
that?
Huh.
The thrusters, where the fans come out on the front. Go back a little bit more.
Yeah, they slide forward.
They slide forward.
Yeah, they're supposed to move.
That doesn't happen in the game.
Yeah, no. But if you look, the rails are there. Same thing with the engine pods in the back. The engine pods are supposed to slide in and out when it goes from quantum to.
Oh, that would be so cool.
I know. It saddens me that we don't see it.
Well, the elevator's better than ours too. Yeah, those VTOLs are the best VTOLs in the game, hands down, because they don't take power from the engines.
Yeah.
Dude, that rover is dope.
And they won't overheat. They're meant for hovering like a helicopter. So
And they're powered by magnets. They're perpetual.
yes,
Nothing will stop them.
exactly.
Do we actually have commercials for the other ones as well?
There's a few. If you look on the U of Tube,
U of
uh,
Tube.
yeah, and just type in Star Citizen trailers or commercials,
I don't know if
and you'll
this
see a
is.
bunch pop up.
Here's another one. Looks like we got another video of some sort. I don't know if it's the same or
This
something
is the
different.
variants. The Constellation lineup. The Andromeda, first one we talked about.
Well, that first one was the Aquila. It had the rounded front.
Well, then they
There we go.
messed
There's
it
the
up.
Andromeda.
That's the Andromeda.
The Taurus has its own newer commercial.
I would say the major difference between the Taurus and the rest of the lineup is the Taurus does not come with the snub.
Well, it's the cargo main, so
Right, but we haven't actually talked about the Taurus yet, so I figured I'd mention it.
yeah. That's a Phoenix.
I wish the Phoenix looked like that.
Like I said, I have a feeling when we see the upgraded RSI design languages with the Galaxy and moving forward, I foresee a very nice facelift coming for the Connie.
Well, I
And
know that I know for one, the Emerald is supposed to get a facelift on the inside because right now when you get the Emerald, it's identical to the Phoenix, but it's supposed to be the party bus. It's supposed to be the nightclub.
It looks like
So I
it's
can
going back
imagine if
into
they
the old pictures that we've already looked through. Emerald.
the, the Emerald is a St. Patty's Day limited. That's why it's got the emerald color. And what do we do on St. Patty's Day? We usually get shit faced. So that's what you
Or
do on this ship.
or pinch each other if we're not riding around in a emerald version of the ship.
I think we'd still
Got
get pinched if we weren't wearing green while we are flying it.
gotta pop into some type of a dad joke.
You know he has to.
Oh, it wouldn't. We would think something's wrong if he wasn't.
Yeah, this is fact.
Let's see. We'll move into the Taurus.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
actually
well,
like this one the most, to be honest. I know low key. I know, right? Whack. What kind of dude am I? I just,
well,
you know,
you like making money.
it's my trucker in me.
You like making money. You can put the most shit in this one.
Yeah, I liken it. Yeah, and I liken it to for you naked. I would say I liken it to like those big box Penske trucks. Like the 30 footers.
Oh yes. Did you
That's
notice
what I.
on this one how the floor
But
opens
like a
up?
big one. Yes.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not.
I haven't actually seen. I don't know. Was the Taurus even out yet?
No, Taurus was it was the last one that came out.
I wonder if they're actually trying to implement something like this on the floor, since it looks like cargo will be coming up that direction from the picture at least.
I think that'd be cool. To be honest, I mean, I think that one of the coolest cargo bays in the Constellation series is the Phoenix because there's a basically a little elevator shaft in the floor that's hidden. You'd never know it was there unless the screen was there to open it
Yeah.
up.
Scarecrow saying lower elevator to the storage.
I mean, hell, that just looks like it has a better cargo containment area altogether than what it has in game.
This is going to be something that's going to kind of change the whole Constellation series as a whole.
Was that?
The Taurus having the ability to have all that extra cargo room.
Well, it also has a tractor beam on the nose, on underslung. See, it's not a terribly pretty ship, but it is still
It's
handsome in its way.
it's very Star Trekky.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
the
By
rear
that,
thrusters remind me of the USS Enterprise.
yeah, it kind of, yeah. I see that.
I wish this was some type of a subliminal hint that the Constellation could fit inside the galaxy.
Mm, no, Galaxy is not that big.
I mean, the constellations in the
That'd
galaxy
be nice
could be
though.
considered a hint of some sort, but I doubt it'll ever get that big.
Oh no, it'll never get that large. No way. I mean,
The one
the
thing,
Connie will be able to fit inside Bengals. Eh,
and you can fit it on the deck of the uh, what's it call it? Um, what's the one that's coming out? That just got bigger. Kraken.
The Kraken?
The original Kraken you could fit like what 3 or 4 Connies on the deck of the Kraken. Now that the Kraken's getting bigger, how many Connies can we fit on it now?
Exactly.
Can you imagine how many Andromedas you could put on there?
Oh my god, I can't fucking wait to be real.
I mean, hell, one Andromeda's got 52 missiles. If you got 4, you've got 200 missiles,
That's so fucking clean.
and they could all launch them like 12 at a time. Make it rain. Like it'd be like back in the day when armies used to black out the sky with arrows, but we
Oh,
just do it with missiles instead.
yes. Hell yeah.
Now this
Be
one, it
so
does look
cool.
like they updated the holder view to make it much longer.
Hmm. And it's missing the snub.
Oh man.
This is the only one that sacrifices the snub, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And it also sacrifices a turret on the chin, the under turret. So it only has the top turret.
But the under turret is the tractor beam, correct?
Yes, but that's still from if anybody was watching last Thursday's Inside Star Citizen, it that doesn't seem to be an issue of you just lost firepower. You just gained a different kind of weapon because it's gonna have a size 3 tractor beam if I'm not
Which
mistaken.
means
Which
you could pick up its ship and toss
yes,
it.
yes, yes, yes,
Oh, there's
yes,
an arrow coming. Not anymore.
yes, exactly.
And what, the only one that's different, I guess the actual length itself of the Taurus is longer as well? Not only?
Oh,
Yes.
in this diagram it is, but no, they're all identical length.
Yeah, but the Taurus is a little bit wider for
Well,
sure.
no, look at the torus on this diagram. It says 69 meters long.
Yeah, but when you put them in game, they are a little bit.
Yeah, this one does say length 61 as well. Looks like a hanger length might be wrong this time.
But if you look at the brochure that you were just looking at, not the well, no, not the brochure you're looking at, the picture with the 5 with the lengths. That one. See the thrusters on the torus? See how far back they are? You can see it. You can see the rails where they're slid back. The top thrusters on the torus on the bottom. See how far back they are compared to
Yeah,
every other torus or every other constellation? You
yeah, you
can
can
see the
see the
rails
rails.
where so that's the length difference right there. If we can slide the thrusters back on all of them, they all get to be 69 meters long.
That's going to be intense.
And I don't even know how that would affect handling.
I'm assuming that the farther the thrusters are apart from each other, the more finesse that we'll get for the handling. I would assume farther vantage points for the vectors of the thrusters.
You could also change how much. It'd be nice to be able to change how much power goes to each thruster, so that you could turn the bottom ones that are farther forward into more turning thrusters.
It's crazy how much
The ones that are further back be the more powerful, speed thrusters.
it's definitely crazy how much that the brochure has changed from what the current representations are. Looks like on there most of them used to be 61, 60, or 58
Of the
for meters long.
58.8.
Yeah, the shortest one, the cargo variant with the shortest. That's pretty funny. That
Well,
and
I mean,
what everything else is growing. Was there anything else you guys can think of for the Constellation series, or do you guys want to wrap it up and start a new topic?
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up on the Connie because that's about it for the Connie. It's as straightforward as it comes.
yeah, I don't really have any more info to add.
All right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and end this stream. We'll go ahead and get ready for our next set, and we'll go over another topic. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave your comments below. Thank you.